Okay. So, hello guys, welcome to the Web Mentor webinar season fourth episode, season one. For all the new people, let me tell you what the Web Mentor webinars is. Web Mentor webinars is an initiative by Madhav Behel where on weekends we bring speakers or tech enthusiasts to speak or share insights about any technology so that you all people would not lag behind in the advancement. So do subscribe to the channel for all the further episodes. Now coming to today's episode, today's session will be all about personal branding using game development by ISHAN V. He is founder of Indie Crop. He is an international award winner. He is a 19-year-old entrepreneur, and he just loves his community. So yeah, welcome Ishan. And guys, keep asking questions. He'll answer all the questions and doubts at the end of the session. So the screen is all yours. Okay.
Hey everyone, so my name is Ishan, and let me just share my screen. All right, so I hope it's visible right now. So first of all, happy Independence Day to everyone. This is a really special webinar that I am going to do in a while. Uh, this topic is personal branding using game development, and let me just give a short introduction. Um, I am Ishan Vora. So I am the founder and the CEO of a startup called the Indie Corp. It's a web and app development firm. I am a game development mentor at International Organization of Software Developers. I am a Microsoft Loan Student Ambassador since past few months. I am a fellow at Incubate Indie, and I am acting as a tech speaker for quite a while now. All right, so basically, I have been into game development since 2015. I sort of got into the field and started making new things, and I learned a lot with during this whole 5 year duration. And I wanted to ask this question to myself again: then why did I choose game development? Why would anyone like to choose game development? Well, I was happy that there are a few good reasons to stay in game development and to push yourself into this field, because there are unlimited opportunities and gaming is one of the biggest entertainment source in the world. um, the stats say that it is about worth 90 billion US dollars by the end of 2020. And since the quarantine thing happened, every person has shifted their entertainment uh, sort of from going outside to playing games indoors. And there is a continuous demand for fresh ideas. So if you look at the games from 1980s or 1990s, the Nintendo Game Boy Advance, Capcom, etc., they created basic games like Mario, Contra. Oh, gives me the nostalgia. Anyway, so those were some basic concepts on how a game should be. Then we had some AAA titles in the early 2000s, um, Freedom Fighter, Call of Duty, Battlefield, and then we move on to games like Grand Theft Auto, etc., etc. So the industry has been evolving ever since, and we can clearly see what landmarks that we have hit, what milestones the whole industry has achieved as a whole. It also gives you the creative freedom to create literally anything. So we have games where the World War II is depicted to a completely hypothetical situation where where you are in a battleship in space and fighting aliens. So you have the creative freedom to create anything inside of your game. It also contributes to other industries, and I cannot stress this enough. So, science and research, you can create simulations, and you can write research papers by creating simulations and softwares like I'm going to discuss this later about how we can create simulations using big softwares and like very easily. Film industry. So a fun example. Do you remember the one of the biggest blockbuster films in the entire world? I'm talking about Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame. So these films, the whole VFX team, the visual effects team, worked on Unreal Engine, that is a game development software, and created the character of Thanos. So the creation of Thanos, from that to creating whole VFX, sort of like visual effects for the whole movie, all took place in Unreal Engine. So you kind of understand how the field of game development is not only it does not only involve entertainment but also other disciplines. We can also contribute to education industry, because we can develop some educational games. We can use the technology like AR and VR to create good things for students. Now let's talk about platforms that are available, because now that we know that the opportunities are ample in this field, what platforms are available for me, and what are the choices to find my sweet spot, right? That might be the question inside your head. So we have Microsoft Xbox, and it's really open. um, it's an amazing platform, and I have been working with them since past few months on a project. Sony PlayStation. So the exclusives of Sony PlayStation are unbeatable, and hands down for that. So you have that platform. You have Windows. Also, we have Mac and Linux. Uh, we have Android and iOS, because everyone is playing PUBG Mobile, Fortnite on their phones, and it's really amazing to see how the industry has shifted from gaming is only for console and PC to gaming can also be done on mobile phone, and not only that, it does it better. So it's interesting to see that shift. Okay, so I want to talk about what makes a great game. Um, all right, so the art and the concept sort of makes what drives you forward. So imagine this: you're writing a story, right? So you first of all have to have a concept, or at least an artistic idea about how would you go creating that story, or even a comic book, or even a poster for, say, pollution. You must have a concept inside your mind. So that concept is pollution is bad, right? Now, how would you define it? You write it down on a paper, you list down what ideas you have. So, art or the concept you have for your game matters. A recent example of this was the famous game Ghost of Tsushima. So Ghost of Tsushima came out, and it became the biggest selling PlayStation game in like a week or in 2 weeks. How did they do that? The concept of the game of a Japanese samurai bringing justice to Japan is sort of really interesting and what intrigued a lot of people. Next is gameplay. Gameplay defines your game mechanics of, for example, how would you control it? Are you creating it for a console? If yes, then how would the controls play out? Okay, that checks out. You have the controls figured out. Now, what visual effects would you like to have? You don't want to game very flashy because it would irritate the player. You don't want it to be very dull. If it's a horror game, you should add some creepy music. So to give the sensation of that something bad or something horror or something scary is about to happen. All those things, the things you see, sense, or hear, or actually feel, when you're playing a game are called gameplay. So gameplay is, I guess, one of the most important. If you don't have good cinematics, it's all right. If you don't have good visuals, it's all right. But if your concept and your gameplay are on point, there is 99% chance that you're going to get success in your game project. Sounds and cinematics are also important. So sounds sort of gives you the emotion of what you're trying to bring up in the game. For example, you're watching a horror movie and you mute it. Now you watch the horror movie and you don't feel anything at all. Even if a jump scare comes, you don't get scared at all. Why? Because the timing of that jump scare sound effect is so perfect that when it comes, you get scared not by the visual but also by the sound. So sounds are really important. Sound effects, your sound effect for a gun firing should be accurate. Sound effect for reloading. Your game becomes more interactive, more playable when you add good sounds. Um, let's talk about cinematics for a while. Again, Ghost of Tsushima brings a good perspective to this. It tells that you don't need to have flashy cinematics like movies in your game. You just need it to be simple and effective. So what they do is there is one still camera angle and two players or like two people communicate. If they want to fight, they put up their stances and it's done. And you then transcend into gameplay again. Cinematics should be beautiful and simple and not complex at all. Um, Also know that you're probably a student developer who is watching this. And if you are, try to make this as simple as possible and explain your story through that. Add captions. Let's talk about visuals for a moment. So, visuals. So, what am I seeing on the screen? Is my environment set up correctly? If I am depicting a World War II environment, do I have anything that does not represent it? Do I have a modern refrigerator in my scene? If it is, then it's not visually correct. So I need to set up my visuals correctly. My environment, my particle effects. So particle effects are like muzzle flashes, explosions, etc. So those are important. And last of all, story is important. Now, a lot of multiplayer games do not have a story. They do not need to have a story, but if they have, it's always good. For example, Fortnite has a story, sort of like. And in October 2019, everything ended with a big giant black hole explosion. So that sort of ended an era and started another after a few weeks. So that's what story means. You don't have to have a complex Shutter Island type of story. Um, Not everyone is Christopher Nolan or David Fincher, right? So we need to have a basic concept of what I'm going to portray in the game, and that is your story. All right, let's talk about gaming as a form of art. Now, I see game development as a form of the way I express my feelings. So if I'm creating a horror game, it is because I have some fears or I have some anxieties of myself that I want to portray. I want to take it out on the game and see how that paints out. It's like my canvas. And you can express your views, your political opinions, your sort of like personal opinions, or anything, literally anything um, on your canvas. That is your game. So gaming as a form of art. So if you go to my channel, I'm going to link it sort of like in the first comment after this webinar is over. So if you go to my channel, I created a Spider-Man movie showcasing how Spider-Man rushes from one point to another and does a lot of parkour. So it's called Spider-Man Parkour. That was sort of my artistic thing that okay, what if Spider-Man gets called from Gwen Stacy, his girlfriend, and he needs to rush into one place in the midst of the busy New York City. So how would that pan out? So I created a whole video about it. I'd still count it as a contribution in game development because I did it in Unreal Engine 4. Um, so, gaming as a form of art is really important to understand because it's your canvas. You can create something that what you feel like is good. All right. I want to talk about. I want to sort of like stress on art part because I think everyone in their life develop some sort of artistic capabilities about what they think is good and bad, and writers write those things, write their feelings about what they think. Poets write poems. Painters paint, and what game developers do create an interactive environment for the player to decide if they learn, if they can find what the game developer is trying to say. So every game has a specific story, a specific mission, and a specific message to be told. And that's what every game developer dreams of. I am going to give more examples in the following case studies. So I think we are moving a bit too fast, right? All right, so you can ask your questions before we start the um, case studies part, and then I'm going to give you more information about what opportunities are available in the field of game development. All right, let's continue with it. We were at all right. So case studies. To begin game development, it's important to understand what it is about, like how the industry is playing out right now. If you're inclined towards multiplayer games, how other companies are doing so. So I have two really good case studies that can cover almost everything for you. Um, I will discuss it, but before I want to complete the introduction. So games like Call of Duty and Battlefield have a specific purpose. That purpose is in campaign mode. You go from point A in the story to point B, to point C to point D, and until it ends, it keeps on moving. So that's their motive, to sort of like to interact with the user in a very story and sort of like a very cinematic format, more of like a journey. In multiplayer games like Counter Strike Global Offensive, um, again multiplayer modes in uh, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Grand Theft Auto. What they're trying to do is they're giving you the freedom to do whatever you want. There is a specific goal that a team or you have to achieve, and you can interact with other players. So that's their motive. So let's talk about Player Unknown's Battleground or PUBG. So there is this person called Brendan Green. He lived in Ireland. I think so. He lived in Ireland, and he got inspired from Hunger Games, the series and the novel, I guess. Now, he wanted to create a game that is a complete opposite of multiplayer games at that point in time. So the year is 2014, and he creates a game called H1Z1. And what it is, it's an island where a few people land in, and last man standing, the last woman standing survives. All right. So he created that game by modding a different game, and it did quite well on Steam. And he concluded that people are actually liking this concept. So he created a very small game called Player Unknown's Battleground, and a game developer in Korea, that is Bluehole Corporation, contacted him, make him their creative director, and asked him to build this game from scratch with everything, with better guns, with better vehicles, with a big map, like a complete open world map, uh, increase the capacity of players that are available. And the game is currently at around millions of players. playing worldwide. On if you go to Twitch, almost at any point in time, a million people are viewing, and hundreds of people are playing on Twitch. You go to YouTube gaming, it has completely changed how we see the gaming industry. Now, when I talk about gaming, everyone thinks of PUBG. The evolution of Player Unknown's Battleground led to the formation of Fortnite. So Fortnite was initially a story game on Epic Games, and when they saw PUBG, they really transformed it into a different battle royale kind of thing, where you can also build stuff with cartoony graphics and weird guns, and that's what attracted players as well. So Player Unknown's Battleground unique selling point is okay. I'll keep things real. I'll keep things Hunger Games style. And when we talk about Fortnite, I'll keep things cartoony. I'll keep things fun. You can build stuff, and let's see how that pans out. So it's that. Um, so now you get the sense like how you can actually create a personal brand. Now Brandon Green is a brand. How he created a sort of like an art which sort of represented his ideas and his feelings, what he had. People liked it, and the name became a celebrity. Like the name became a brand. The person became a celebrity. He's the creative director at Blue Holes, I guess, and the man is super successful. Now let's talk about a really cool game called Alone. So I wanted to include this because this is my game, and the demo is actually out on itch.io, so itch.io. Alone is a horror game. As you can see from the background, it's all dark, and there are few people lying down, and like very less lighting is there in the scene. So you can check out my channel for the trailer of the game. The basic concept is the person is stuck in an abandoned mental asylum only to discover some uh, weird things, some unique things, and his experience. So alone means that he is alone, apart from various things that are there. So he has to survive alone, and how he how he acts like when he does not have or she does not have human camaraderie and human friendship or even a human voice near him, just a few monsters, and only he has to survive. And in a few hours the person begins from a healthy state of mind that I'm going to do this to a bit insanity. So that's what describes this concept, right? So it's different. It has been done before in like games like Resident Evil 7, I think, in various other zombie related games like Outlast. No, it wasn't zombie related, but it was sort of like Outlast, etc. So your game sort of represents what idea and what opinions you have. So Player Unknown's Battleground was a really big stepping stone in the new direction the gaming industry is going, and let's hope that Alone is also in that. So you can go to ishanvora2.io and /alone, and you can see the demo version is out, so you can download it. All you have to click is this download button. So um, so this is like the case studies that you can learn from. The concept is different, completely different. One is going for a good multiplayer experience, and one is going to towards a complete cinematic story experience, driving the player through various circumstances and seeing how their decision making abilities work. All right. Now, how this pans out when I compare it to personal branding. Um, if you learn one skill, for example, in this case, game development, start creating content. You'll create content, you share it with the world. Now, if that content is rewarded by the public, which it will, because the game development companies communities are really rewarding, and there are a million opportunities available. You can actually create a whole business, or sort of like a whole brand using game development. Companies like ILM, that is a visual effects company. It started with one person aiming to make visual effects for film industry, and now it has contracts from Marvel, from DC, and you've seen how their work is in various movies. So, what are the skills that require game development? Because I have got the final impressions for some by talking to some people that game development is really hard. Um, Take it from the person who has been doing it for 5 years. It's not hard. It only requires three skills. So, one is creative aptitude. Creative aptitude, I believe, is in every person. It just differs perspective from perspective. I believe creative is my idea of creativity is, you know, thinking about something, actually painting it out, how it sees, how it plays out. Somebody might have a different plan. So your ideas of creativity might not match the others, and that's what makes every person unique. People think there are people who favor logical mind, and there are people who favor creative mind, creative side of the brain. So if you're the logical uh, sort of like favorable, but you still can create good things. I mean, puzzle games are a thing, so you might find that attractive. And it doesn't mean that your creative side has literally shut down and is gone for the has gone for the vacation. Everybody has creativity. It's just one person's creative idea cannot be the other's one, and that's what makes every idea unique. So if you're watching this, I'd like you to pen down some good game ideas. It could be inspired from others, because that's what art is about. You get inspired and try to do one thing in your own way. So I took the concept of horror game and tried to do it my own way. The movies I have seen, the way they have inspired me, I am trying to do that in my own way. So try to do that. You should have problem solving capabilities. So I think this can be really grown into someone, if it isn't. So if you're not from a scientific field, and you sort of like have not that kind of an experience, that you don't solve problems very much, mathematical problems very much. So I guess by doing some various exercises, by doing some various practices, and by practicing a lot in the field of game development, you learn how to solve various problems. So, for example, you're facing a problem. Okay, I cannot get this fire effect correctly. Watch a lot of YouTube videos. Watch a lot of articles. Read a lot of articles from the Unreal Engine forum, and you'll learn something from that articles, from those YouTube videos. You learn something unique from each of them. All right, programming. Programming is like a very small circle, because it is not really important to know programming. Uh, you can literally create a game like GTA 5 without coding, provided you have a good team, like a big team to divide the work. Else it will take you 5 years. um, but you can create a like from scratch to a complete product, like a good multiplayer game. So the game that I was talking about before, that I'm working on alone, it's going to be launched on Xbox in November or December. But the catch is there isn't one line of coded in it. I mean, the compiler thing is different, but the whole game has been made using blueprints system. So that was the challenge that I took on. I thought about it, and I thought about that, maybe try create something that could inspire others who don't have a coding experience. So if you don't know coding, That's fine. Just go with it. Loan blueprints. There is a if you're trying to create games in Unity, like that's another software. There is a plugin where you can visually script. So that's easy. All right, let's talk about various tools that are in game development that can be used for game development. So my favorite is Unreal Engine 4. I am obsessed with it since 4 years. I have been exploring it. I have been creating new things on it, practicing on it a lot. So you do that. So you choose your tools, you try a bunch of things, and you stick with the ones that you enjoy the most. So I enjoy Unreal Engine from the bottom of my heart, and I love this software. um, the Unity is an amazing software for beginners. If you aren't sure about game development at all, try Unity. It's so simple, and the programming is in C sharp, but it's really simple. Just watch a lot of YouTube videos and you'll learn a lot of things. Godot Game Engine. So Godot Game Engine is also a new game engine being developed, and I didn't add it since 3 a.m. last night into the presentation because I thought nobody uses it. But I did because I have tried it in the past. It has grown so much from being just a basic system to show, okay, these are some particles, these are some things, visual on going on your scene, to create a good 3D game inside your PC. And even if it is a low spec machine, you can still create good things with Godot. And it's open source. So if you don't like something, you can create an issue, fix that issue, and maybe that will be merged in the official version of Godot. Unreal Engine is also open source, and so is the last software that I'm going to be talking about, Blender. So Blender is another one of my favorite softwares, and it's really good. When you launch Blender, it seems like a lot of things have been thrown at you, but when you see a lot of videos and you see how Blender has evolved, so the latest version of Blender really fixes a lot of things that weren't in the past. So if you have tried Blender in the past and didn't get the hang of it, try it now. If you haven't tried any of the softwares, try them, download them. I say start with Unity, then go to Blender, Godot, last Unreal Engine because it's a bit heavy, takes a bit storage, but it will pan out. List out what are the pros and the cons. Share it with us. Share it on the web dev mentors LinkedIn page. Tag us. We'll reply to you and give you honest opinions about what we think. Uh, the whole process of game development is about taking an idea, using a software or building a software from scratch to make that idea into a reality or a virtual reality at least. And that's why I really love these softwares. The Unreal Engine has various implications and applications in the field. So you can create films, like I told in Avengers Endgame. So I told about Thanos, the Iron Man transformation. So like Mark 50, and what was the latest version? I can't remember, but the one in Endgame that was also built, and the whole simulation, like the nanobots coming in on Tony's body and he bringing up that shield. So that was all created in Unreal Engine. So imagine the power of what you can do with this software. Um, there are a lot of good things that are made in Blender also. You can go to Unreal Engine to see YouTube channel to see what things that have been created with the combination of these two softwares. Um, there are so many games on Unity that were developed on Unity and are on Play Store, and those games have done incredibly well. The only thing that bugs me about Unity is that if you want to get the professional version, it's about $1,500. So, ouch. Godot is free, open source, so you can go nuts on it. I haven't seen a good project on it, but I know the engine is really good, and I have tried making some things. Didn't really suit my requirements, but it is good. Now let's talk about the opportunities in game development. I have just added three because honestly, I think you can get all these three. Let's talk about the Epic Mega Grants for first. So I'm just going to pull out the Mega Grants webpage. Just type in Epic Mega Grants. Okay, so Epic Mega Grants is sort of like um, their community effort. So they're doing it all for free. What they're doing is they have committed $100 million to support game developers, enterprise professionals, media, entertainment creators, students in bold, educators, and tool developers. So the ones who are developing plugins and various tools that can work with Unreal Engine 4, and those they are also giving grants to people who are not even using Unreal Engine, doing amazing things with UE4 or enhancing open source capabilities for 3D graphics community. Show us your projects and you could earn a financial grant to help your success. So you can get a grant up to about $25,000, and it's not that difficult to get. You should have a clear concept of what your idea is, what you're trying to make. So for example, you're trying to make a Spider-Man movie. Now, how would that pan out? How is this different from what the usual stuff that comes out of Sony or Marvel is, right? Do you want to make a game, or do you want to make a entertainment thing? You want to make a tool for education, sort of like a VR classroom, right? So you can have that idea. You can make a prototype in Unreal Engine 4 of whatever software that suits you, and you can submit your application by a very basic and not very confusing application. So describe your project. Just write in 500 to 1,000 words of what your project will be about, how this will benefit the community. Is it providing a new perspective to that particular industry? How do you think it will benefit you? So so Epic grants, so you can get a grant for like $25,000. Just tell them your budget, and they even request ask you if you're requesting a Magic Leap One hardware. So that's like a virtual kit for if you're developing things for augmented reality or virtual reality. You can even request an AMD Ryzen 7 3800X. Dude, that is like a $600 processor only. So like that, the CPU is only $600. You can tell them what platform you're developing. So that will consider that. Describe your project and your plan to develop, etc., etc. What your project type is. Is it education, game, enterprise? So they're giving money to every one of them. The applications are still open, and I guess it will be open throughout the year, because $100 million is a lot, and you have a chance to sort of like uh, get this before anyone else. Okay, let's talk about the second thing. So that's Game Developer Conference. Game Developer Conference is the biggest conference that every company, that every publisher, indie game developer, player, everyone has set their eyes on in the year. So for if you're into technical stuff, you might be looking out for CES, that is the Consumer Electronics Show. If you're a game developer, that's the place you want it to be. So they do indie game developer showcase. You can submit your game there. You can apply for as a speaker. I did that. My application got rejected somehow because the whole event is going virtual and they couldn't accommodate my spot at the very last moment. But you can do that because this COVID situation isn't going to last very long. You'll get to travel for free to, I guess, it's in San Francisco or I guess Montreal. So that's a really good place where game development conference happens. So you can try to grab that opportunity, try to speak what you're passionate about in game development, try to teach a thing or two to other fellow indie developers, maybe get your game to be showcased on that big stage, and like they do a lot for the community. This event. All right, at last, I want to talk about one of my favorite programs, and it's called ID at Xbox. So Xbox or at ID or ID at Xbox programs enables qualified game developers of all sizes. So if you're a student developer, if you're an independent developer with like a team of three, if you're a professional developer starting your own game studio, you get the chance to unleash your creativity by self-publishing digital games on Xbox One and Windows 10 platforms with Xbox Live support. That is optional. Or adding Xbox Live to your iOS or Android. Um, you will be given tools like the Xbox One Developer Kit. So you'll get a testing kit which includes an Xbox One, various softwares, etc., and the support and the technical support that need to maximize your success. And the process is really simple. You just register for it, and they'll reach out to you. Then you need to sign an NDA, that is a non-disclosure agreement. You need to build your stuff, send them, they'll contact you, and if your concept is approved, then you can publish it. And it's really amazing. So Xbox Live is on iOS and Android developers, and it's really amazing. If you can check their Twitter handle, it's I guess ID at Xbox or Xbox at ID. I don't know, but they give sneak peeks onto what games that they have been working with. I am selected for this program, and Alone is going to be launched on Xbox One and Xbox X version. I don't know what they're calling it. The latest generation Xbox, hopefully with the ray tracing capability. So that's how I found out about this. So the opportunities in game development are ample, and these three are just the scratches. Like I have only scratched the surface. There are a lot of indie studios in India itself that are creating games for um, various companies, etc. And the whole concept intrigues me because it gives you the creative freedom to do whatever you want. Um, there are various opportunities available in game development, and I hope that this presentation, sort of inspired you to create your own game. And thank you. I'd like you to fire your questions at me. Okay,
Okay,
so
so okay, you like wow, I did not even distract my mind even for a second. You were really awesome, Ishan. Now coming up to questions. First question is Unity is better or Unreal?
okay, so I'm a bit biased because since I've been working with Unreal Engine for so long, because Unreal gives you so many tools to do things. Um, so Unreal Engine has been the software of my choice, but you should try it. Try Unreal, try Unity, try Godot, try Blender, try a million things, and then choose what suits you. That's the freedom of sort of like uh, this field, right? So Unity is better on Unreal from my perspective. Unreal Engine is better. All right, so that's my answer. Just try new things.
Okay. So second question is can you share your journey of personal branding using game development?
Oh, okay. So that's an interesting question. Um, my journey of personal branding began in 2019, I guess, when I started creating various short videos and then publish it on IOSG, like the organization that I work for, on their portal. And I have grown to enjoy this process, like not only making games but also making short videos and then posting it in the community. So that's what grew my brand, I guess. That what brought followers into my account, subscribers into my YouTube channel, etc. So that's the beauty of personal branding, right? You create something and you put it on social media, and people see your work, and there is nothing more rewarding than for an artist for people to see your work. So that's what grew my sort of like my journey of personal brand.
Okay, so third question is, what are the best resources you would suggest to a beginner into game development?
Okay, best resources. You can check out the webinar series that I've been doing with DevScript. So I pulled a sneaky self promotion. I am trying to implement blueprints like you're not going to code anything and you're going to create a game from scratch to a complete, fully furnished game. So just go to the DevScript channel and you can see the two live webinars that I have done with them, and three more are yet to come. Also, you can check out the Virtuous Learning Hub channel, or I guess they have changed the name. But if you type in Virtuous Learning Hub, they have great resources. They have great learning resources for Unreal Engine 4, for programming, the whole deal.
Okay, so Gaurav asked, can you please suggest some more getting started projects in game development?
Okay, so I am assuming you are asking for your first project as a beginner. I think you should create a game like Subway Surfer, like the basic version. I don't want you to like create every effect on it. Try to create something basic. What games do you like? Do you like Angry Birds? Try to make that. Do you like horror games? Try to make that. Try a basic version of what your favorite game is, basically. Don't try multiplayer. Itni jaldi. That would be really haphazard for you. So uh, try something basic. Like, what's your favorite game? Is it Call of Duty? Make a basic game, basic version of first-person shooting.
Okay, so next question, how can we reduce game lag?
Wow, so that's a really technical question. Okay, so I'm going to dive in a bit technical stuff. If you're using really high fidelity assets, for example, like if you're using something that is made of so many polygons and it's a really complex shape, it will look good, but you're not working for Marvel. So remember that you're creating a game that is going to be run on i3, i5, even on systems that don't have a dedicated graphics card. So try to use low level of detail assets. Try to not include so many particle effects. Um, make the process whole a bit simple for you. Run it on various devices. That's how you reduce game lag. Also, in Unreal Engine, you have a profiler. So you can see how many resources or how many RAM, how many graphics memory is your game, sort of consuming. So you can study that and try to reduce it.
Okay. Now coming to next question, how do you find inspiration for your game while development? Do you follow some procedure before you start developing a game?
Um, uh, okay. So when I see a new game out by Ubisoft, or one of my favorite companies is Activision. So when I see their games, so like Marvel Avengers game came out recently, the beta version, and various games are there. Like I have that's what inspires me. Like I want to create that, and I want. I am impressed. I am intrigued by various animated movies. Like one of my favorite animated movies is Finding Nemo, or The Lion King. So these are the things that inspire you. So what thing inspires you? Like that's my question. You can create something around that concept. Uh, I do not follow a procedure. Do exercise, I guess. Do some meditation. Keep your mind clean. Um, Try to avoid stress, because I don't know, some people on Twitter say that game development is stressful. It can be, but you just need to find the right fix for a particular problem. So just keep your mind clean. Don't stress yourself over something, and that will do.
Okay. So next question, tell us more about your startup and your entrepreneurial journey.
Okay, so the Indie Corp was initially supposed to be a game development studio in 2016 when I was in 11th class. We built some titles and we put it out on various platforms. And all the money we used to get, it used to go into our school's donation box. So we didn't keep anything at all. So that's and I sort of enjoyed the process of creating something and then um, providing value to others because students were loving the game that I was creating in school. So I thought, okay, maybe I could do something more. So in college, I got into this concept of freelancing, and I thought that there are so many glorified freelancer, but no one is helping the people who actually need them. So small businesses, startups, individuals who are looking to get their brand online. So the Indie Corp is all about creating like reality from your idea. So taking concept of your idea. Okay, so you told me your idea of your startup. I'll create the whole thing. I'll put it on web. We'll do the whole thing at reasonable prices. So that's what we try to do at the IndieCorp, and we have been doing it successfully for various brands for about 2 years now, and the journey has been really amazing.
Wow, that's amazing. So next question, what was the first game you built and how you jumped into the game development?
Okay, so what was the first game that I built? All right, you know what? I guess I am going to show you guys what I actually built. Let me just give me 1 sec. I'll pull my old video. So that's, I guess, 5 years ago. I did not pull down the video. I'll just mute it because might get copyright
Ishan, you're
issue.
not sharing your screen.
Yeah, I'm just loading it right now. Just give me 1 sec.
Yeah.
Is it visible now?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the racing game that I created in 2015 on a basic 3D software called 3D RAD. I was recording on VLC Media Player at like 10 frames per second, so you can see how the smoke effects have converted into like small balls. Um, and like this is my first game that I created. And after this, I you can check out what I created. You can go to my channel, and I created a shooting game. So that's there. So it was in 2017 when I published this video. So you shoot people and and they sort of disappear. So that was that. And then I sort of started to create um, better things like try to learn more, started contributing in the communities. That stopped, and now I'm back with the Alone, and you can view the whole thing on my channel.
Okay, so the questions are done. Now Arpita will continue.
All right.
So the session was really amazing, and thank you so much, Ishan. That was really an insightful session, and we are so happy that you could join us today and help us gaining perspective towards personal branding using game development. We have shared the link to the feedback form in chat window. Please do fill it out, and I would like to thank all my audience for joining us today for your patience and support. And at last, I would like to thank my team, and we will be back next weekend with another mind blowing episode like this one. And till then, keep learning, keep sharing, and let's strive to make India more vibrant. And happy Independence Day to all.